Okay, so this week discussion revolves around coastal protection, its short and long-term challenges, the history it has on the implementation plans that help mitigate the impacts of environmental phenomena, and above all, the importance and relevance of climate change on the current coast problems in relation to factors such as sea level rise, sea currents, coastal erosion, the notable and serious change in coastal line, and the change in the seascape coastal landscape. In relation to the importance of the coastal protection, coral reefs and mangroves as a system that helps mitigate these phenomena and the importance of these barriers where artificial or natural, where emphasis to reduce the intensity of marine impact. The examples of cities that have management to implement mitigation plans for environmental disturbance that are both important for the local economy and for the cultural part of each locally related to social perception were also analyzed whether for small cities or mega cities according to their respective needs also consider the importance of the legal and juridical factors in relation to the need to restore and protect these ecosystems that contribute to coastal protection. In relation to the worrying situation of what is happening in the low island of the Pacific due to the rise in sea level, a case can be visualized where an environmental catastrophe produced by global warming affects human settlements with this island due to the coastal land coast areas where they can establish wood their houses and their fishing and commercial activities are beginning to be reduced, forcing people to migrate and seek refuge in other places, in other countries, and either within the same island in other place. In relation to this, the climatic shelters are knowing as a space worldwide destined to host human population that have been displaced or forced to flee from their settlements due to the sudden or gradual impacts of climatic or environmental phenomena, at the same time, the lack of resources to survive and propose. This is also often caused by the lack of environmental policies that incorporates laws and health mitigation, climatic change. On the other hand, in a general way, the rise in sea level has, is, and will continue to affect economy important ports and coastal cities due to the fact to the current situation of unsustainable climatic change. The sea level will continue to rise, causing that happens. Same as the low island of the Pacific, but is possibly more populated and economically more important areas in which generates and will generate much more expense to try to mitigate these impacts and also from the commercial perception in the international level. And for this reason, it's important to stop climatic change urgently because in many of the coastal cities and ports, if the situation continues the same, will not have the necessary resources to recover infrastructurally and economically. A comparative example of this is the case of Bangladesh and Haiti. The first, despite being a country that suffered from flood and environmental phenomena, but has a fairly established economic thanks to the relation with its neighbor in Southeast Asia, so it can easily recover. But the second case, which is well known, it represents the opposite sign. It's a very affected country that doesn't have the support of many international organizations, and which is why the restructure of local economic here is more complex. And finally, I consider that if I were to be part in a commission to change in developing policies to reinforce coastal protection in any cities or in any country, the main project that I would propose to implement it will be generate and reforestation of mangroves around the coastline. Obviously, after of a study that analyzes the impact of this, which areas it will be recommended to do and which not, and above all, how this um, will affect the biodiversity of the different coastal marine ecosystem of the country, if there will be impacts of reasonable with the needs to have a great, good structure and designated reforestation plan, also proposing it as a project that seek to involve local population in order to generate environmental awareness.